So, a collaborative playlist, I'm going to explain how to build one. This is a little bit different than the playlist model that you might have learned previously. This is a collaborative playlist. It gives them an activity to do by themselves to formatively check their understanding and then a project to work on together. This can be about any topic, any learning, but it's a fun model to go through. So, you first will think of what standards or learning goals that you want the playlist to address. Come up with a theme or topic. I'm going along with our 4th of July model, and we're going to do the branches of government for this one. And then I have some different blueprint templates, and these are a little bit different each one. I'm going to demonstrate the first one, but let me just show you the other two that they have. So for this one, you put in your lesson topic, the directions, and then you give them an individual chat, a self check, and a collaborative activity. Then the teacher checks, then they move on to their next one. And this is by Amanda Sandoval, this activity guide. And then this one, it's kind of like an inquiry roadmap slash group playlist. So it's kind of a combination of the two. And this was built in Google Drawings, but they go ahead and they do their task one, and then you would probably give them each task begins with an individual assignment and ends with a group activity. So you would have them work through the different tasks until they get to the finish line. Let's go ahead and check out the manual and then I will build one. So this is the collaborative playlist model. Um, Collaborative learning gets greater achievement, productivity, self esteem. So it is really nice to have collaboration. But what I really like about the collaborative playlist, it builds in individual learning and self checks that you know each student is understanding it and then they work together. So it's kind of like station rotation, where each group's working on a task and then moving to the next, but we're not physically moving around the room. So, what is the playlist model? A playlist model combines a mix of activities designed to build specific content. The student controls the pace of their learning. In a playlist model, the teacher has structured the activities for the student with checkpoints built in, the formative assessment, and with the playlist model, after each task, they are checked by not only a formative assessment, but the teacher comes over and checks their progress. So, this often goes over multiple class periods. Um, if you ever want to learn more about playlists, Caitlin Tucker has awesome playlist information on her website. And I also offer UDL and blended learning. It's a book study that we do, and it also will dive into this playlist model. So, think stations, but no rotation. So each group might be working on a different task, but they're working through the 4 tasks. So they can start on task 2 or task 3 or task 4, however you assign it, or they can choose. The tasks are guided through a Google Docs. The groups can complete tasks in any order. There's flexibility of time, and they're not really rotating, but they're rotating through the tasks. And then you check after each one. So, this is differences between stations and playlists. And this is the template that we are going to walk through. All right, so let's jump. Oh, well, here's an example one. Sorry. So, here is another example before we jump in and build one. So, this is the cost of World War II. They can look at the atomic bomb. They individually read about the atomic bomb, and then they do an excerpt from the graphic novel and take notes on their worksheet, and then they discuss as a group. Or they can look at firebombing, or they can look at the Holocaust by completing the Pear Deck by themselves, watching the video, and then discussing with their group. So let's build one of these. So I have pulled out this blueprint and made a copy. I went up here and made the template copy already. So here it is. I can give it a new name. And this is going to be branches of government. So I'm going to start off by giving them objectives and then the different, and then the different subtopics. We're only going to have 3, which will be the different branches. So give me 1 second and I'll type those in. Okay, and then I'm going to put the objectives up here. I'll have to reformat that real quick, but let me get the 3 that I came up with. And then I'm going to shrink that down. Woo, a little too shrunken. There we go. Okay, so then I'm going to build my different playlists. So this first one, they're just going to do an overview, branches of government, US government, and I can put in the objective or learning. And then I'm going to give them directions on their individual tasks, which is going to be watch the brain pop on the branches of government. And I'm going to give them a link. And here it is. I'm going to copy that link and put it right here. And because I love images, I'm also going to copy this image and put it right here. And I can also hyperlink that image to take them to the movie. Now I could assign the movie in BrainPop and just give them BrainPop link. They will need to log in with Clever to their BrainPop in order to access it. But I could assign it and then I would know if they watched the video or not. So you can set up that assignment by going to your dashboard, teacher dashboard, and making that an assignment or clicking right here on assign. And then you'd give them brain pop and then it would list on their brain pop when they go in that assignment. So that's another option. And then their self check, I can give them a couple things to do. So I could have them take the brain pop quiz. And I would go over, and once again, I could assign it, or I could just give them the link. There's also a challenge. I think I'm going to give them the challenge this time. Um, they're enhancing this summer brain pop, so don't worry about this. They are going to come back with some awesome integrations into the quiz for this. So I'm going to grab this challenge, which will soon be built into the quizzes of BrainPop. These are just some higher order thinking questions that aren't just multiple choice. I'm going to give them another quick little assignment here. I am going to have them make a map, a concept map about the branches of government. And I keep spelling government wrong. I was only a political science minor in college. I should know how to spell government. All right. And then that one is also in BrainPop, and it's this make a map activity. And I'm going to give them the link to that. I could assign it once again. All right. Now, we could collaboratively work on that over here in the collaborative tasks. But my idea for the collaborative tasks is them to make a book inside Book Creator, which gives an overview of the branches of government and then has pages on each branch of government. I'd want to build directions and a rubric on how this collaborative task would be graded. But I've created a library called American Holidays, and I am going to copy that invite link that they'd go to, and they'd create their new book and then lay out the information. So directions, create a book with your team about the branches of government. Page 1, overview, and then a link. And one thing you might want to put here is the rubric or checklist or the grading criteria of how you are going to grade this book that they're making. They'd call the teacher over when they're done with their first page. You could go in and check that they did all the brain pop stuff before they move on to their next task, which will be the next piece of government, I think we're going to let's go legislative branch next. And then I give them a learning objective or essential question, which I can come back here and grab this one. And format that a little bit so it fits in there, so it looks nice. And then we are going to start off by reading about the legislative branch. And put that link in. And I'm actually going to repeat this process for the executive and judicial branches. I found on ABC Clio one about executive and judicial. Then maybe I'm going to copy that image just to make it a little more decorative on this. And go ahead and put that right here. And I'm also going to put a link on it just in case they click on the image. It will also take them to this article about, and my paste does not seem to want to work. Let's do it one more time. Copy and paste. There we go. So now they can get to that article. All right, so then they have their self-check, which they are going to go through this legislative branch Nearpod that has some great activity collaborative boards, matching pairs, videos, field trips. It's got a time to climb game. It was a wonderful lesson. So I'm going to click teach and then student paste. And then I'm going to copy that link. And so for their self check, complete this lesson on the legislative branch, and that will give me some great formative assessment data from all the different activities that are in it so I can assess their learning. Now I could put a cute little picture from it here, and I could go through and find an image of the legislative branch if I wanted. Like, look at all this stuff. There's a cool collaborative board, a poll. They've got a great video. So, tons of awesome things. I can go through and edit this lesson and make it my own as well. All right. Then I'm going to have them create a book with your team about the branches of government. So, they're going to be working together on one book. And this is going to be the next page. And this is going to be about their legislative branch. They could put them in any order. Another idea I had is they could make the book, but another one I had, I was debating between both of them. This is Fig Jam. It's kind of like Jamboard. It's a collaborative environment, similar to Padlet if you ever worked in those. And what they can do is I set it up that they would come up with 2 facts about each branch and then an overall group finding, and they have each group in the class here and they can put their findings here, something that's less demanding than creating a book in Book Creator. But honestly, creating a book in Book Creator isn't that demanding and it's really fun. But those are some different collaborative activities. I would just repeat that process with my executive and judicial branches. I have the article about the executive here and an executive branch Nearpod that's similar to the legislative, and the same with judicial, and then the judicial branch. So I just need to go through and put all of those information onto my playlist, and then they would create their book collaboratively about their branches of government. So this was pretty easy to create. I just took the time to research and find that information. Um, when you are finished, just make sure you have an individual task, self-chess, collaborative tasks, and that you check your schematics for the playlist.